There isn't a day goes by when it seems that there isn't another piece of toxicity regarding MAGA Republicans. Now, on this issue, I've also condemned the left. I've called out their extremes, and I will do that when it arises. But I've just come across a report that's quite illuminating, and I think not surprising, but illuminating, regarding Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. And basically, she was asked by a British journalist, I'm not sure if it was BBC or Sky or what, but a British journalist, about David Cameron's calls urging Congress to back more funding for Ukraine. And he compared putting up holds to this to appeasing Nazi Germany. Well, Greene's response when asked about this was, I think that was very rude, and frankly, this verbatim, frankly, he can kiss my ass. So I think it was very rude, but then she goes out with that, um, you know, less than diplomatic statement. Um, I think that says everything you need to know about MAGA Republicans. I really have no respect for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Never have. I think she's lightweight. I think she's as ignorant as her cult leader, Donald Trump. Um, she's kind of like the what Nadine Dorris is to Boris Johnson, just just a yes person. And I'm not making it a gender thing because there's plenty of male Republicans that are just as ignorant and just as vulgar. But that says everything you need to know. Really, as for David Cameron's statement, I know some people will take issue with that, but really, given what Putin has done in Ukraine, given what the rationale that he's used ostensibly for protecting Russian speakers, I think there are some analogies with the 1930s. Now, maybe it was wrong of David Cameron to put it that way, but I I do think that if Congress halts all funding for Ukraine, if Trump's re-elected, if he goes ahead and takes action against NATO, which is a real possibility, this isn't hot air. People close to his inner circle have said that he means this. Even hawkish Republicans like John Bolton have said, take him seriously on this. I think then there will be a real crisis of leadership. I definitely think America will lose its right to call itself the leader of the free world, and by extension, the American president in the form of Donald Trump. Just wait till that police siren goes past. Yeah, anyway, I'm not going to say too much more on this, but just I thought that was worth a bit of commentary. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a joke. This is a woman who has pushed conspiracy theories. I think she is the personification of everything that's toxic with MAGA Republicans. Um, and I've no respect for her. Now, I wasn't a Tory voter. I'm not a Tory voter, and I certainly didn't agree with everything David Cameron done. I think he was and is too cosy with China. So he has to tread carefully when it comes to the accusation of appeasement. But in the end of the day, he was a leader of a nation, and he's a statesman in a way that she will never be. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a joke, as far as I'm concerned. So that's my take on it. But if this thing does escalate, if Putin triggers World War III, then history will not look kindly on appeasers. It will not look kindly on those cowardly Republicans who decided to look the other way. And they talk about warmonger, and they accuse their opponents of being warmongers, but this is a war that was started by Putin. There's nothing pacifist about appeasing tyrants. I wouldn't argue that's a pacifist position. That's enabling warmongering tyrants like Putin. I wouldn't say it's a pacifist position. This is an attack line that Donald Trump's using against Nikki Haley, because she is, for standing up to Putin. I think she's no chance of winning the Republican nomination, and I haven't looked enough at her policies to know where she lies, for example, on the issue of gun violence. I'm sure there'll be many areas I would disagree with Nikki Haley, but at least she knows what a dictator is, and at least she wouldn't appease them. Donald Trump would. I think the man is a disgrace, and I think his cheerleaders um, are as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene and co. There's others. Marco Rubio, incidentally, was one of the Republicans I thought kind of may have been not a moderate, but I thought he may have been on the more diplomatic side of the party. But he's come out and doubled down in defence of Trump's statements on NATO. I mean, at this point, there are very, very few decent Republicans left, I would say. Most of them are fully endorsing the Trump cult. And I think some of them will be doing it for their careers, because they'll be looking at a place in his second cabinet. Um, then you get Republicans with integrity, like Mitt Romney, who will speak up against the Trump cult. Chris Christie, Nikki Haley, although I'll be watching that one closely, because if she drops out of the race and then she endorses Trump, then she's a hypocrite. She'll be going back on what she said. So if she drops out of the race, then she should not endorse Trump for president if she really means what she says in condemning him for appeasing Putin. There's no point of saying that and then saying, "Oh, I'll toe the party line and support the candidate." If America is the land of the free, then she's the freedom not to do that. And I'm saying that because I think she probably will drop out sooner rather than later. I mean, if she loses her home state, I can't see her staying in the race. Of course, it has to be said the primary election is very different from the presidential election. Um, I did see one piece that said Biden could still leave this with dignity in so far as he'll go through the primary stages and then drop out on his own terms. But I'm not sure I agree with that trajectory. Dean Phillips, I was looking a bit more into his presidential campaign. I mean, he's no chance of winning. I said I didn't know much about him. I still don't. He was making a thing of the fact his daughter was a cancer survivor, and he was basing a big focus on healthcare in his campaign. But apparently, the Democrats have kind of shunned him now. I don't entirely agree with that because they must see that Biden's memory problems are increasingly a liability. They must see that. And I think Biden himself is being, frankly, a little bit selfish by clinging on. He's had a term as president. Maybe this is a personal thing because he wants a rematch with Trump. I don't know, but this is the worst choice America's ever had. I would go that far. And if I were a voter, I'd go for Biden, but I do have concerns about his age simply because I think Trump is a traitor. I think he is. I mean, this isn't just about not being a leader of the West. The fact of the matter is the United States is a member of NATO. So by speaking out against NATO, that directly puts American troops in danger. I cannot state how strongly I loathe Donald Trump. I think the man is a disgrace. Um, I don't feel the same way about Biden on a personal basis, but I think he is being stubborn by clinging on when his memory is not there. He's clearly having problems. And I don't think it is in bad taste to raise these issues, as some have said, because it's a legitimate question, the mental faculties of someone with that power. So I don't think it's in bad taste to raise those issues. Now, maybe asking, does he remember the year his son died, is a little bit blunt. But, in the end of the day, he's the president of the United States. He has access to the nuclear code. So these are legitimate questions. I don't think it's in bad taste to ask them.